Today we're going to do a review on the Ultimate X-Men Omnibus Volume 1 by Mark Millar. It has a 1,024 page count and the cover price of $125. This X-book is great for new readers. Let's get into it. Today we're taking a look at Ultimate X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. We are very fortunate right now to have a few X-Men title new releases coming in the Omnibus format. So we got the Extreme X-Men, the Ultimate X-Men, and a few other ones coming out down the line, which I'm super excited for. Of course, I'm picking up all of them. And we're going to start with this Ultimate X-Men. So you got great cover art here. This is the DM variant with Adam Kubert with the Wolverine on the cover there coming at you. You get the issues collected on the back, a little cover gallery, which is nice. And on the inside of the dust jacket, you'll have a little synopsis of kind of what's going on in this this alternate universe style of the X-Men, because this is the Ultimate, so this is in the 1610 universe is what it actually is. And then you get this great wraparound cover right here. This is from issue 2 with Adam Kubert artwork here. So you got the X-Team, the new X-Team in the Blackbird behind you, and it's just looking great, man. I love that wraparound cover. Just taking a look at the binding, of course, too. It is sewn binding. You get a decent eye on this, which is great. So there's not very much gutter loss in this book at all. There's one like page or two that was in my copy that was kind of strange, like the top was cut off. It was in the World Tour issues, the Legion storyline here, which is a cool little story throughout this book, but one of the pages is kind of like stuck in there, so I'm missing. So I do get gutter loss on that page, and the top looks like it cut off. So I don't know if that was like a printing error or not, but so looking at the table of contents here, I like how we have the writers up top, and then we have the artists who worked on each one of the issues here. So you get actually Jeff John is right on one of the issues here, but mainly it's Mark Millar, and then you have a bunch of artists like Adam Kubert, Andy Kubert, his father, David Finch, you get Assad Rebeck in here, Chris Bachalo, so there's a decent amount of artists that work on this book, and I do like the art in this book, but it definitely reads early 2000s for sure. It's got that style from the early 2000s that, it's, you love it or hate it, really. There's moments where it looks good, and there's some other moments where it just kind of falls really flat for me, but luckily the writing from Mark Millar is just absolutely top-notch, man, and it just makes up for any moments of the artwork not being too great. Like the Tomorrow People artwork is great, and it's a great start to this Ultimate X-Men series as well. This whole Ultimate run is basically a retelling of the X-Men, a more modern version of the X-Men. So this is great for new readers. Anybody can get into this. You can pick this up, never reading any X-Men stuff at all, and fully enjoy this. It's just basically X-Men from the start. So you have Jean Grey. She's trying to recruit people to the X-Men team, which is currently, I believe, just her and Cyclops. So she finds Hank McCoy at like a bar. He's being harassed by these people because he's a mutant. So she ends up getting him and, recruiting him into the X-Men. Then she also finds Aurora Monroe, which will be later known as Storm. She's actually like in jail. So Jean Grey, bails her out of jail. Then she joins the team. And Wolverine at this time actually is also hired by Magneto, who's with the Brotherhood of Mutants. So they dropped the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and it's just the Brotherhood of Mutants, which is Magneto, Toad, all the OG people. So like nothing really changes. It's just slight tweaks. So you got like Quicksilver and Blob and Magneto, of course. And they actually end up hiring Wolverine to go take out Charles Xavier. And, as soon as Wolverine gets to the X-Men team and he meets Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, as they call her in this as well. So it's going back to the old school stuff. So it's like it's a mix of all the X-Men stuff kind of in a retelling in a new, more modern version. But Wolverine gets to the X-Men, man. Of course, he falls for Jean Grey. And this is definitely a bit more graphic and stuff like that. Like, they talk about sex. Like, Jean is kind of like all over Wolverine and Cyclops in this, which is it's kind of cool to see, man, because there's always been those little relationships between the characters over the years, and actually Beast and Storm have a relationship as well in this. So they're like dating at this time. Later in the story, you'll get Kitty Pryde. She sees like Colossus, and she's making like googly eyes at him and stuff like that. So there's a lot of elements of X-Men history that are still very similar in this, but they, like I said, they also do tweak it a bunch. And this is just a great storyline here. The first arc of the book, the Tomorrow People, Magneto getting all of these Sentinels, you know, trying to basically take out the humankind because he hates the humans so much, which, you know, this is a really, really good storyline. I love that they have the Scarlet Witch in there and the Quicksilver and their relationship with their father, Magneto. Just a really, really good story, and, you know, it just continues throughout this, man. Like, as being a huge X-Men fan, I think this is great to just have a more modern retelling of everything going on in the X-Men. So in the end of the Tomorrow People story arc here, you have Magneto, who is now thought to be dead, and then it jumps into like this return to Weapon X storyline here. So it's going into a little bit of the history of Wolverine and his time with Weapon X, and Weapon X actually in this is kind of a dark underbelly of S.H.I.E.L.D., so you're going to get some Nick Fury stuff in here, which is kind of interesting to have him in here with all this and this S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff going on, but you get some cool characters introduced in this part too, so Sabretooth and Nightcrawler, a real cool looking version of Juggernaut. I definitely really like the way that he looks throughout this. So you have this Weapon X team, and they're out just kind of, you know, murdering people, but the Wraith, I believe his name is, he ends up getting a bunch of the X-Men, and they're going to be part of the Weapon X team and go out and just kind of do all these hit missions as well. And in the meantime too, Beast turns from like the regular human looking skin, and he has actually blue fur in this, so he changes. And you get a great battle between Sabretooth, who has now 4 adamantium claws, and he's got adamantium claws like on his fingers or whatever, not just like he's got Wolverine claws now, and then he's also got like sick adamantium teeth, so he's all decked out, and they have a sick battle throughout that. And it's a great story, man. I like the more modern take on all this stuff that's going on, and I like the character development through all this as well too, so it's definitely some good stuff. You get Bobby Drake, Iceman, he enters the team as well, who he eventually is like suing the X-Men later in this book. You have Colossus here, who actually wants to like leave the X-Men, but they kind of like guilt trip him into saving these people on a submarine, and you know, he's celebrated by these like Russian people, I believe, and he comes back to the X-Men team. There's an earlier part in the Tomorrow People too, where Cyclops leaves and he's almost about to join the Brotherhood of Mutants for whatever reason. And then midway through the storyline here, you'll also find out that Magneto is not actually dead, and that he's actually has like his memory blocked. So Charles has put some sort of block on him, and he doesn't know that he's Magneto and that he was involved with all this stuff. He's actually like a school teacher, and he's got like a girlfriend, and I think maybe even kids or something like that at this point, which is just a strange little thing. So it's all like, it's kind of cool, just the modern takes and twists and turns you have throughout this. You get Kitty Pryde introduced, so she's going to join the X-Men. This bit here is pretty damn hilarious to me as well, where Storm and Beast have broken off their relationship. He like doesn't understand why she would be with the blue thing ever since he turned from the earlier in the issues here. But Blob is just like in a chat room, and they're just talking back and forth, him and Beast, and he's catfishing him basically, which I think is hilarious. And it just shows the times, because it was like the early 2000s, so like the fact that people were in chat rooms and stuff like that, like this was a big thing that was going on back then. So it's kind of just funny that you have the Blob catfishing Beast, and he ends up just revealing some information to them too, which will affect everything in this universe for right now. So it's just a really cool thing. It definitely shows the times. Like there's many things that are mentioned throughout this book too, like Digimon and like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and there's like Pepsi Max and like just a bunch of stuff that is from like the early 2000s. So it's kind of funny just like kind of stepping back in time and just being reminded of all these like things and whatnot. But that was a cool little splash page there with the kind of giving me the X-Files vibes with the Blackbird, man. But it's a really, really fun story. If you're an X-Men fan, if you're not an X-Men fan, it's something to jump into and check out. It's a little grittier than older X-Men stories and stuff like that. Like I said, there's a bit more violence. When you die in this, which, you know, is a big thing in X-Men history. Is like, if you die, like, you're coming back. Like, at some point, you're going to be returning to the X-Men, you know. You know, the art style isn't my favorite throughout some of these issues. It definitely gives you that 2000s vibe, which I know a lot of people aren't fans of, but, the storytelling and just being involved in this universe of this new style of X-Men like completely makes up for any of the lacking in artwork, which I really enjoy. So here we got some old Wizard issues, man. Great extras in the back of the book here, as always. They always jam these omnis full of great extras. So I love this book, man. Let me know what you think about this book down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Organic Priced Books, the best place to get your omnibus and other collected editions. Super fast shipping, bulletproof packaging, and amazing customer service. Use promo code DROCK to get $2 off your purchase at organicpricebooks.com. Join the OPB family today.